Hey, what's up? My name is John Patrick Morgan, and I want to help you understand how you can brainwash yourself in 21 days for success. So, I want to explain to you how to do it, but the first thing we need to get straight is that the way that you'll be successful is to show up in the world in a particular way. You'll be taking certain kinds of action, which means you'll be being a certain kind of person. So we need to reverse engineer this a little bit. What is the result that you want? What would be a successful result in 21 days? What would the action you would have taken? If you had that result, if you got that result, what action would you have taken to produce that result? All right. And then once you know the action you would have taken to produce that result, you think, well, what kind of person would I be if I were just taking that action and it was easy for me and effortless and joyful and free and fun and spontaneous? Who would I be to be doing that? Because you don't want to have to try to just know what the action is and then force the person that you currently are to do that and overcome the inertia of a being that's not producing that action. You actually want to be the person that has it be easy. So we want to go from the result to the action to the person that you're being, the qualities, the characteristics, the traits, right? And so once you can see who that person is, your work on a daily basis for the 21 days is to actually start to cultivate the idea that you are that person. But that's not the brainwashing. The brainwashing is actually something that happens before you cultivate the idea that you are that person. So to wash your brain means to actually clear out the stuff that's already in it, right? So when we hear the term brainwashing, we think, oh, we changed this person's brain. Well, the change happens after the washing. So how do you brainwash yourself? How do you actually clear out the ideas of who you think you are? Well, number one, you have to identify what those ideas are. And so who do I think that I am that's getting in the way of that action? What's the current identity, the current characteristic, the current trait, the current opinion I have of myself that has me not take that action? Oh, I procrastinate. Oh, I'm not that consistent. Or there's some story about who you are that is antithetical and contrary to the types of action that would produce the results of success that you want, either in quantity or quality. It may be, oh, I make loads of sale calls, but I'm just not that good at selling. So it might be an idea that impacts the quality of your action, just not the fact that action, whether action happens or not. So what are the ideas about who you are that undermine your effectiveness either in taking action or in the quality of those actions? Those ideas are the ones you want to wash out of your brain. So how do you wash an idea about who you are out of your brain? Well, the first piece is an intellectual insight. It's the existential awakening that all of this shit is made up, right? Nietzsche called it active nihilism. It's realizing that there is no meaning in the world. All meaning is actually constructed in the mind. There's nothing that actually exists out there, right? As far as the meaning that we make, we're just applying labels, we're applying stories to things. And when you can actually see that, you have an existential awakening, like, holy shit. Whoa, I call it an existential thunderclap. It's like, oh my God, everything is just fucking made up? You mean nothing's actually any more real than I believe it is? Yeah. And if you spiral out into like depression, oh my God, life is meaningless. Nietzsche called that passive nihilism. That's like existential angst. That's an existential breakdown. But on the other side of that coin is, holy shit, everything's made up. Oh my God, I can make up anything I want. Woo! This is going to be fun. Holy shit, I can create my own reality. Yeah, you can. But you can only do it after you wash your brain of the realities that it has. So the first piece is the intellectual insight that everything you think about yourself is a lie. Not because you're lying and others are telling the truth, but because everybody's lying all the time. That's all we do. We believe in lies collectively together and we call them truths. This is the reality from an existentialist perspective of life and of living and of being and of meaning. But once you have that insight, the next thing to do is to take that rational understanding and utilize it to take these things that you are believing as stories and unhook them through the emotional work, the deep work that unhooks them, which is really you just intellectually understanding that you have a story about who you think you are is not enough to get the story out. It's enough to spot the story. It's enough to be able to get your talons and your fingers into the story, but in order to pull the story out and have you to actually stop believing it, you need to do a deep internal process, a kinesthetically felt experience, something that involves your attention on your emotional system in your body. You actually need to feel it to heal it. my friend Winnie says, you actually have to go into the cave you fear to enter, the discomfort. You have to actually see and experience it as being true and activate it in your body. Feel the misery of the idea that I suck at selling. Don't just intellectualize it in a way you dissociate from the experience, but actually go into the believing of it and feel how much it sucks and feel your own disappointment, your own hurt, your own heartache, your own pain for that. And in that feeling of it, bring in the existential insight and understanding that is actually just a story. That allows you to get your fingers underneath the belief. Now you've got a grip on it. It's not out yet, but you've got a grip because you can see it's the illusory nature of it. But how do you remove it? This is where forgiveness comes in. You see your innocence primarily, number one, in adopting that story. I didn't know about existentialism. I didn't know that all these things were made up. Heck, I didn't even know that I was saying this about myself. I didn't know that I was telling myself over and over again that I suck at selling. I thought I was describing my reality. I didn't know that I was actively generating it. Oh, snap, all description is creation. Yeah, I'm so innocent. I didn't realize what I was doing. And so because I can see my innocence, I have the capacity and the willingness to forgive myself. I forgive myself for believing all this time that I sucked at selling. I forgive myself for telling myself I suck at selling. I forgive myself for judging myself for being a procrastinator. Wow. And then you start to feel light and free through your forgiveness, through your forgiving yourself of that idea. And as you start to feel the lightness and the freedom come, now we're washing the brain. Now you're creating space and freedom. And in that spaciousness, as your heart opens up and you actually feel free, now's the time to bring in a new idea where I am a master at selling and sales. I am the most productive person I know. I am fill in the blank, whatever the quality or the trait is that you would be if you were thus taking the actions that would produce the results that would have you have success. You do that in 21 days, you will be a different person. You'll be creating success and results in a way you can't even imagine right now. That's like all of my life's work in like a handful of minutes. If you want more depth on that, you want to learn how to do this practically, I've got hundreds of videos you can watch, but if you want to dive in really deep and have some support, then join the Creating School. You can go to creating.school, click the link somewhere there, wherever it is, click it, read about it, join us. We've got an online community with conversation happening. I do live classes every month. There's an archive of content and classes. This will change your world. This is deep work, it's intense work, it's life-changing psychological, spiritual growth work, but it's the highest possible leverage point for you to change everything in your reality, not just now, but forever. For your destiny, if you have kids, for their destiny. My whole life is committed to this in myself and in everybody else that I'm with, and I thank you so much for watching this whole video. My name's John Patrick Morgan. I look forward to creating with you in Creating School or somewhere else. Much love. Bye for now.